glucose transport across the cell membrane. From our diet, we get energy, that is ATP, mainly from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which are then converted into the micromolecules with the help of digestion. Like carbohydrates are converted into glucose, fats into fatty acids, and proteins into the amino acids, these micromolecules then get absorbed into the blood and into the cells. So we will study how the glucose is being transported across the cell membrane into the cells. First, the food gets into our stomach, then into the intestines, and from the intestines, the portal vein carries the blood through the liver. The liver basically filters the blood and then passes it into the general circulation. Transportation across the cell membrane of glucose is basically not simple diffusion. Diffusion is, it is the movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Since glucose is a large molecule and cell membrane, is very selective permeable membrane. It doesn't allow the larger molecules to move across it. So we need special mechanisms, transport mechanisms for glucose to move them across the cell membrane into the cell, so the cell can use the glucose for their energy purpose. Glucose is then converted into pyruvate with the help of metabolic pathway called as glycolysis. Then pyruvate is further processed to give us ATP and other energy products. So there are two ways by which the glucose can be transported. Number one is the facilitated diffusion. The number two is energy dependent. Facilitated diffusion is since glucose moves from higher concentration to lower, so it is called as diffusion. And it is not the simple diffusion, it needs a lot of transporters, glucose transporters, so it is called as facilitated diffusions. Diffusion, which is diffusion of glucose, which is facilitated by the glucose transporters. So as we can see that glucose is, here is a molecule, you can see here drawn in a black color. When it get in contact with the glucose, it then secretes the glucose into the cell. So there are 14 types of glucose transporters. They are written in their abbreviated form as GLUT. We will go into the detail of few main important for us GLUTs or glucose transporters. So number 1 and 3 glucose transporters are present in our most of the tissues, but they are mostly present in higher concentrations or mainly present in the RBCs as well as in our CNS, in the neuronal tissues. They have a high affinity for glucose. It means that they strongly bind with the glucose and then transport it into their cells. If there is higher concentration outside and lower in the inside, glucose transporters 1 and 3 will pick up the glucose from outside and push them into the inside. So this is the function. While glucose transporter 4, they are present on the adipose tissue cells as well as on the skeletal muscle cells. They basically deal with the extra glucose, like the simple, if there was high concentration outside and lower inside the cell, GLUT 1 and 3 would be taking the higher into the lower concentration inside the cells. But if there is more glucose present, the extra amount of glucose present, that will be transported by glucose transporter 4 into the skeletal tissue cells as well as the adipose tissue cells. These cells, the muscle cells and the adipose, they basically store the glucose. Skeletal tissues store them in the form of glycogen, while adipose tissue store them in the form of glycerol, which is then converted into triglycerides. So the transport of this the glucose transporter 4 expression basically depends on the insulin. If there is insulin will like pancreas will see if there is a lot of glucose present in the blood, that they will secrete insulin, and insulin will then help the glucose transporter 4 to express on the cell membranes of skeletal muscles and as well as on the adipose tissues. This is the mechanism by which insulin is being transported. Insulin is here. It has our cells have special receptors. The skeletal cells and uh, the skeletal muscle cells as well as the adipose tissue cells have the special receptors for the insulin. Then there you can see the black circles, which are the vesicles, and they are carrying the blood for transporters here, which then fuse with the cell membrane, and the GLUT4s are expressed on the cell membrane. Then there is GLUT2. This is called 2 because it is like two-way. It is taken into when high in blood and give to blood when blood is low in the glucose. It takes the glucose into the cell basically when the glucose levels are higher in the blood, and when blood is having lower levels of glucose, it will give blood back the glucose. The liver cells are performing this duty. The liver cells here. The liver cell is present, which is this one is the hepatocyte, the liver cell, and this is the general circulation. It is a circulation across the liver. The glucose is being taken into the hepatocyte, and this is then converted into the polymers of glucose, which is called glycogen. And this process by which glucose is converted into glycogen, it is called glycogenesis. While when needed in the blood glucose, liver cells will break down the glycogen into the glucose. So this process is called as glycogenolysis. While glycogenolysis, with the help of glycogenolysis, liver cells can throw back the glucose into the blood. Also, there is an other process by which liver cells can give glucose to blood when the blood levels of glucose are lower than the normal. This process is called gluconeogenesis. Neogenesis means the glucose is being produced with the other sources like non-carbohydrate sources, means from the fatty acids or the amino acids. This process is also being performed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells of the kidneys. They also help in gluconeogenesis. Then there are beta cells of the pancreas. Beta cells of pancreas basically they have to all the time sense the blood glucose levels, so they can see if their blood glucose levels are going up, they should release the insulin there, and then the insulin will help the muscle cells, the skeletal muscle cells and the adipose cells to store the extra amount of glucose into them. So they are also present in the GLUT2 transporters are also present in the pancreas. They are two-way basically. They take the glucose from blood into them, and also they release the glucose back into the blood. Then there is glucose transporter 5, which is not actually the glucose transporter, it is basically the fructose transporter. The liver cells basically do another function. Since there is the micromolecule of carbohydrates, like not only the glucose but also the fructose or the lactose, when they are moving through the portal vein into the liver will convert the fructose. Liver will take up the fructose, and then it will convert the fructose or the lactose into the glucose, and then give it back to the blood when needed. So and whatever the left, it means that we need the fructose transporters, which should be present in the stomach. So they should be transported from stomach to the circulation, and also in the liver cells, so they can take up the fructose from the circulation and convert it into the glucose. And whatever the fructose which is left in the circulation, it is then utilized by the testes for their metabolic actions. And also another important cell, which is sperms need fructose for their metabolism. They have to run towards the ovum. So all for all that purpose, they need the energy, and they primarily take it from the fructose. Then there is glucose transporter 7. Glucose transporter 7s are present in smooth endoplasmic reticulum. As you know that gluconeogenesis is being occurred in the kidney cells, the proximal convoluted tubular cells of the kidney, and also in the liver was occurring this gluconeogenesis. So this primarily occur in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So they need the GLUT7. While the rough endoplasmic reticulum is primarily involved in it is basically having the ribosomes and primarily involved in making the proteins. So smooth is doing this function of gluconeogenesis. So this is the way by which the glucose is being transported into the cells, and then the next what happens that glucose is then converted into like pyruvate. It is undertaken into the process of glycolysis from which we get the energy. And if there is present the mitochondria and the oxidant, the pyruvate will further convert it into it will enter into the Krebs cycle, and it will give us further further ATPs and the energy. Thank you.